agreement that you wish to fulfill. Could you turn this campaign into something like with your friends instead of the park, whatever, substantial, or do what other people can.
Communities,
Rather than just
she's good. I like her. I've been using
plastic cups, you have to drink there. You can't do this.
totally.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Board of Trustees workshop in the Village of Fredonia on 911 Church Street in Fredonia, New York, on this July 30th, 2025 at 9 a.m. I'm Mayor Mike Ferguson. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, before we begin, we have a guest today, and I'll let him explain the process and procedure. It's Jeremiah King from King Law in Geneva, New York. Wanted to talk to us about what we discussed a little bit, PFAS opportunity.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Jerry King, a lawyer out of Rochester, New York. We have another office in Geneva, New York, where I work out of often. My law firm's working on some PFAS litigation and settlements in New York, Pennsylvania, some other states. The majority of the work that I've done is between Buffalo and Syracuse areas. I'm representing about 40 municipalities, that being towns, villages, and cities, between Buffalo and Syracuse primarily, a few up in the Albany area. Basically, what we're litigating and what we've settled in many situations is a PFAS, which is kind of an acronym for what we refer to as forever chemicals. It's about 29 chemicals that are in some different products. Some are household products. A big place that these came from was firefighting foam used at airports and with firefighters at their stations. It's gotten into our rivers, our lakes, and kind of just made its way through the country, really. It's a nationwide problem. Basically, a group of lawyers and a group of towns got together years ago and decided to sue the people who were making the firefighting foam. The big players were 3M and DuPont. Back in about the 60s, they came up with this foam to put out fires, and they put these chemicals in that foam. They tested it in-house. They knew that the chemicals were very dangerous. They were causing health problems with the mice or the rats or whatever they were testing their own product on. But they didn't tell anybody. They kept their product the same. They sold it into our communities for 50 plus years. And once it was discovered that it was harmful and causing cancer and other problems, there was a lawsuit. So the municipalities and the lawyers sued these companies. It settled for, with 3M, $12 billion, with DuPont, $2 billion, and there's a number of other defendants as well. What that did is it took a pool of money, about $14 billion plus, and put it out there for municipalities to go after a piece of that pie, a piece of that settlement. And basically, we're going around and working with municipalities to try to get a piece of that settlement for towns. So one of our clients that's near you is Dunkirk. We represent Dunkirk. We just got a first payment for them a few weeks ago. The payments come in kind of a staggered schedule, but they're one of our clients. And then we're doing a lot of work in the Finger Lakes area with the different Finger Lakes of Seneca Lake, Canandaigua Lake. We are representing folks on Lake Ontario, some folks on Lake Erie. So I've worked with folks that had wells, I've worked with folks that have reservoirs, really worked with people with all different water sources. Some of the things that we found through doing this 40 times over in New York is that a number of people are going to miss the opportunity, and part of the reason they're going to miss the opportunity is, and I'm not necessarily trying to blame anybody or the EPA or anything like that, but there was a big kind of protocol that went out, procedure that went out over the last few years. It was called UCMR 5. It was a testing that was going to be required of municipalities that are creating water, and to do testing so that there could be better data for EPA to see how widespread the problem was. The EPA was looking for folks to be under what's called 4 parts per trillion as kind of a benchmark of what would be a safe level of PFAS to be in somebody's water. So at one point in the history, they were looking for folks to be under 100 parts per trillion. They lowered it to 70 parts per trillion. They lowered it to 10 parts per trillion. Now they're guiding at 4. So when they did this testing over the last few years, a lot of the testing kits that went out to everybody to participate in the testing had a benchmark of, are you above 4? So if somebody was coming in on their test at like what would be a level of 1, it was showing non-detect because it wasn't 4 or higher. What we're finding in the Western New York area is almost everybody that we're working with is coming through at a 1 or a 2. So we're working with a lab. We redo testing in a lot of municipalities with them. It gets sent to this lab, and they're able to go all the way down to 0.9, 1, 1.2, 1.4, and these small numbers that have been missed in the past. We also find that in some testing, folks were testing their treated water. You are allowed to test at the raw stage prior to any treatment. So if treatment is taking PFAS out, that is a smart way of doing it, is to do it at the raw stage. What I expect based on the 40 municipalities that we're working with is that there would be a trace here, meaning about a 1. That makes people eligible for this settlement. So what I would ask you all to consider is working with us. We would be kind of guidance and kind of coach on the testing side of things, using the lab that we've had good success with. And then basically, once we have like the testing information, we get data from the water department about volumes over the last 10 years. We're able to go after more money the higher the water volumes have been. What we're allowed to do strategically is look at 10 years. We're going to grab the highest volumes that a municipality has had because there would be more money. Kind of the general conversation that I've had with a lot of municipalities is, the good news is, we're not like some of the areas of Florida, for example, where the PFAS levels are 20, 30, 40. We're not like a military base where the PFAS level might be 1,000. There's really high levels out there that are really scary. Generally speaking, around here, these 1s, EPA is saying that that is safe. Most municipalities aren't planning, if they have a 1 PFAS, 1 part per trillion PFAS, they're not planning on totally redoing their water plant. They're not. It's very good news. So it's kind of, in some ways, the best of both worlds. You have really good water coming into your treatment plant. The process of treating it should be lowering it even more. Not a lot of work has to be done to get any, and there's, I believe, eligibility for the settlement. So out of the 40 municipalities that I've worked with in this area, I've yet to find a municipality that did not find a detection using our tests. I think we've gained a lot of experience doing it 40 times over. The way we work is on a contingency fee. Basically, we don't get paid unless you all got paid. So if we went in and did testing, or we went through this process and there was nothing there, the village wouldn't be out any money. Any cost of testing, we would basically eat that cost. But we're expecting, like in the other 40 scenarios, that it would work out. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Have you worked or had a conversation with the Chautauqua County Department of Health? Because they test for PFAS and they would tell you what their results were. I just wondered if you'd had that conversation with them yet to find out how they tested our water and what the results were.
I had not had a conversation with them.
Okay.
The Department of Health does the testing, not the treatment plant itself.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the treatment plant doesn't have.
We sample.
Yeah.
Submit all reports. We did the UCMR 5 last year, and we also did the PFAS, PFAS this year.
Do you remember what the results were?
I have to look them up.
Okay.
Louis, weren't they testing them at the end result instead of the raw, or no?
No, we do it in the raw,
Do you?
make sure there's nothing
Okay.
coming.
Right.
So, what I've seen just in the other situations is that UCMR 5 was only looking at whether there was 4 parts per trillion or higher. So EPA has a website, it's a public website. You can go on the website and put in any municipality's information, and it's gonna show, it's either gonna show less than 4, or if it's above 4, it's gonna show the results of 4.1, 4.2, 5, 6, 7, 8. But it just says non-detective is less than 4. So that's why we believe there was, I think they should have used a tolerance that was lower so that people knew if there was a 1, a 2, or a 3. But anybody who used the test that was designed to only show 4 and up, I believe it was missed.
Have the courts ruled that, that if ours is 0.1 or lower, but your results show something different, that they would accept your results and not,
They will accept our results.
they will accept your
So
results?
the way the results worked is if somebody had a recorded early test like back in 2022, they were required to get in on the settlement by the end of 24. So somebody in Florida who tested and was at 20 parts per trillion, because everybody knew about it, they said, you go first in the settlement. If folks did not have that recorded public result, they have until the end of this year. And you all were identified by the lawsuit itself as being what's called a phase 2 possibility kind of. There's a list of municipalities that weren't in that early first round as someplace to look. So we over and over again have done our testing and it has been accepted. So Canandaigua is a town on Canandaigua Lake. Stood before their board, and they had not had a positive result. We had a test done a few weeks later after they hired me. We found a 1.2 or something like that. They're going to get several $100,000 by identifying that 1.2. The other option is to not participate, but I think there's a couple $100,000 available here, if I'm correct. And so far we have
Yeah, I guess, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can you talk about the cost of the testing and how
Sure.
you'll pay for that?
Absolutely. So each testing kit's about $550. We do it for each water source. So some folks they pull from this river and they pull from this creek. We would get 2 testing kits at $550 a piece. If there's one water source but then multiple wells, we would test each active well or what was active prior to the lawsuit. So we'd look back at like 2023. So if there's 3 wells, we would do 550 plus 550 plus 550. Basically, we front the cost of that testing. The testing kit would get sent to the treatment plant. An invoice would as well. The invoice would get forwarded to me. My office would pay that $1,500. If nothing comes of this, we would just be out that $1,500. We would eat that loss. If, for example, we recovered $100,000 as a settlement, we would pay the $1,500 back out of the recovery. So if nothing's found, we eat the cost. If something's found, it comes out of the settlement piece.
I guess
I think
my
it's worth
feeling would
pursuing.
be,
Yeah.
if it doesn't
There's
cost
no risk.
anything, why would we not?
Right.
Why would
We need a
not?
motion to, on Monday, or do you want to decide today?
We could do
No,
it.
we need
Yeah,
a resolution for
Yeah.
Monday.
yeah, yeah,
I'd be in favor of that.
Contract or something.
yeah.
I have
Is there a
a
contract?
I have a proposed one with me.
Great.
Joshua, I have a
Second.
question. Lake Erie water, it's a large body of water.
Right.
Have you done testing in the lake?
Yes, we have.
Okay, and it would vary, I would think, the PFAS levels, because it's so large, correct?
It literally can vary from second to second. These particles are very tiny.
Okay.
I'm not as scientific as maybe I should be, but I participated in a test where literally the testing bottle was dipped in the lake, and then another bottle was grabbed from the kit and dipped in the lake, both sent to the lab, and they were slightly different, like one was a 1-1 and
Okay.
one was a 1-2. So it could be day to day, week to week, minute to minute, sample to sample. There's also like, say we did Oswego, for example, on Lake Ontario. They're drawing water from like 100 feet down in the lake, so you potentially see something different at the surface than
Right.
100 feet down in wind direction. And there's flows of rivers into the lake, and if you have a certain direction of wind, you might be testing the river rather than the lake. So it gets, there's a lot of variables.
Regarding Dunkirk water, do you know what their levels are?
Off the top of my head, no. I believe they're consistent with what we've seen in Western New York.
Okay.
In the 1 to 2 range. Nothing off the
Okay.
charts as far as my recollection. So the two people that have done this for my office are me and my brother. My brother's Bob King and I'm Jerry King. So I believe he was more active with Dunkirk than I was.
Okay.
But the two of us have done all the work in Western New York.
Thank you.
All right,
Anything
yeah.
else from the board?
You could get that contract proposal to Alyssa. Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
thank you.
Thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Thank you all for
Thank
visiting.
you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Lovely place.
Thank you.
Okay. On to resolutions. Provisional appointment of Levi Wright to lieutenant.
He just has to take the civil service exam, correct?
That's correct. It's not a current list, so the only real solution is provisionally appoint someone to call for a test. There are two
Okay.
people that are eligible for promotion. Those are the two people that were interviewed internally, and Levi was selected.
So I asked Alyssa what financial impact that would have, and his increase in pay would be minimal. If someone's working in that position on shift, it costs us about twice as much. So it'd be cheaper it'd be more financially prudent to do this than to let somebody work out of shift, which is $1.50 an hour more.
It's also civil service law that they have to have a supervisor on every
Right.
shift. And that was a lawsuit that the village had previously lost.
All right.
So,
We either pay someone $1.50 per hour overtime or pay him 67 cents more, so.
I spoke to her, Alyssa, also, and
Yeah.
I'm good with this.
Okay. Great.
Yes.
Okay, EV station letter of intent, approval.
So basically what we're doing is we're leasing them the land. There's no out-of-pocket expense for us at all. And then on a monthly basis or however we set that up, we make a percentage on their usage, their sales, so. it won't
Average
cost us
percentage right now is between $380 and $500, so, yeah.
Yeah, so that was, yeah.
One clarification, I didn't get a chance to take a look at whether that's per station or per location. Just so you know, the locations that we're currently looking at, both public parking spaces or parking lots. It's not taking up a parking space, it would be off the grass. They would pull up in the regular parking space, right? The other one is possibly Water Street parking lot. So, nice part about it is, it brings people in downtown core. Hospital was considering putting those in, but now that they'll have them downtown, gets them to the restaurants, gets them near the hotels, gets them near the fishing areas. So,
So in their proposal, there's a black and white map, which is really kind of tough to read. But it's just to the east of the building that Ted Sharon has.
so Ted's building where the theater is, and then you've got some businesses here. There's a patch of grass behind those that it would, just before you get to that driveway on Ted's, it would be back there, so it's tucked into the corner.
Are there any other charging stations in the downtown area?
Not currently, I know,
no, I was gonna say the White Inn has,
well, he piped for him, but he said he didn't,
I was gonna
because
say,
I
they
knew that was in.
used to have
yeah.
one, but
yeah,
that
it was
was
too expensive
yeah.
for him to finish everything off. And he figures if we're gonna be doing these, it's the same thing. It's within walking distance of the hotel, people can plug in.
So then the next
I suggest they
closest
take their keys with them, but, you want,
Right, currently, there are some in Walmart's parking lot and some behind the,
Denny's.
Some of the
Denny's.
and I'm pretty sure, Nate, but I don't know if you guys might know better than I do,
They're over at the dealership too, and
Yeah.
the gas station next door.
but we
There's
have,
a couple on the
the ones
campus.
behind Denny's are strictly Teslas, correct? They're all labeled
Well,
as Tesla.
They're Tesla branded. The Tesla charger has become the de facto standard now.
Okay.
All of the American car companies are going to use that charger hookup over the next little while. Currently, older cars have to use an adapter, but I could pull up to a Tesla charger and plug my Chevy in.
The nice part about this is also is that each location would have high speed as well as
Low speed.
lower speed. This was brought to us by Mike Gilbert, who I've worked with for many, many years. It's a company out of Buffalo called PPR. They've done several communities. I spoke to Cheektowaga, they've had no problems with it whatsoever. And said that from a service standpoint, they're there within a couple of hours if it's ever needed. So,
Okay.
pretty reliable, and it costs us virtually nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good to proceed with the letter of
Yeah.
intent, because it's not the full contract, so this is just
Right.
saying that
Right.
we're gonna negotiate a contract from this.
So we
That's-
agree as a board to allow the mayor to sign this, right?
That'll be what the
After reviewing the
resolution-
official
resolution.
contract,
You
yeah.
have to
Yes.
look at the contract.
But I don't see a
Well,
downside
we have
to
to
it.
approve this letter of intent.
Right.
Right. And then the contract.
and then the final contract.
David Felt Training is number 3. Number 4 would be budget transfer. Number 5 would be screw pump repairs.
Hold on a second.
I can have Dave do that in his report if you'd like.
Yeah, and I appreciate the email you sent out. That was pretty,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty thorough, but, yeah.
Okay,
And you- and
I
you-
have it to read to everyone
Okay.
today,
Yeah,
if you'd like it now or during the report.
Well, if there's nothing else on the resolutions, we can move to the reports, and
yeah.
Dave
Sure.
can give his first one. So wastewater treatment plant report.
Recently, we have had major issues with screw pump number 3, and that pump is out of service. Currently, we have 2 of the 3 screw pumps operational at this time. With normal operations, the plant runs on 1 pump unless there is a high flows due to weather conditions in which we need to run 2 pumps to keep up with the flow to the plant. We have been working with Mully Industries to come up with a plan to get screw pump number 3 back in operation. The first phase would involve bringing in a crane, stabilizing the screw to the pump, and removing the bottom bearing assembly to figure out what parts would be needed to be replaced in order for the pump to be operational. One of our concerns is the cost of renting an emergency pump if another pump would have issues. Screw pump number 2 has been recently replaced and is in very good condition. However, screw pump number 1 has had work done on it, but it was installed when the plant was built and is past its life expectancy. With the age of screw pump number 1 and the necessity to have 2 screw pumps operational at all times to deal with high flows that are determined by weather conditions, there should be a high priority with getting screw pump number 3 back in operation again, so we could avoid a potential emergency situation.
What was that rental cost? I know you and I talked about this,
Okay,
but what was the
I
rental cost?
have it right here. Last time, like when, there was work being done with the screw pumps when number 2 was being put in, the total cost was around $97,000 because you have to bring in a diesel pump you have to set up the piping and bring in a fuel tank. And the weekly cost is $6,000 a week for a rental pump if we needed to do an emergency situation. But that price was from around 3 years ago, so that price could be, I just wanted to have that information as part of our decision-making process.
Before we go there, can I ask, are we still running a generator as well? As I know, months ago, we talked about resolving that situation.
That's at the water treatment plant. Yes.
Well, I mean, just adding more rentals and things to the list doesn't help matters.
Right.
So, yeah. What's your suggestion, David? Since you're the professional.
My suggestion is we start with the first phase to see what would need to be repaired, what it would cost, and then we'd have that information. Like, our best option is if we can get that up and running, have it be able to pull water, and that would get us so we're not in a limbo situation, and then we could look for grant funding to replace it down the road, is how I would approach the situation.
Because it seems to me, unless we know exactly what it is we're looking at, which we won't know unless we have this work done, then we really don't know how to move forward.
Right.
There's no sense in
That's
languishing on it, and
No.
this turns into a major issue. We
Yeah.
already have enough of major issues.
Yeah.
Well, let's do that. Let's get it done.
Okay.
Yeah.
David, question on number 3. It's original, correct, to the
Yes.
plant?
Yeah.
Has it ever been serviced?
They've, like, we do regular maintenance on it. There has been different parts of it that have been replaced.
Okay.
There's, the lower assembly, not much has been repaired on it just because they, the cost of, like, basically bringing in the cranes and, doing it has always, they thought that they were gonna just replace the pump at a certain point in time, and it just never has gotten around to it.
Do you have a PM schedule for the screw pumps?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Our maintenance guy, he, has it, it's a monthly, checklist on that.
Thank you.
Is that it? Let's go
Thanks,
on
David.
to, speaking of water treatment plant. First, before you go on, want to explain to people, we've had a number of water main breaks, which Scott will talk about in just a little bit. Because you may or may not lose water in your neighborhood does not mean it's a boil water order, number one. Number two, no matter which direction this board goes with regards to water, that will not stop water main breaks until and when and if in our lifetime we ever get to replace the pipes in this. You know, when you look at New York State news, you're listening to the governor, others, when they talk about infrastructure, besides bridges, besides everything else, this entire community was discovered off and on in the 1800s, and in many cases, this infrastructure below ground is that old as well, as Scott alluded to just a few weeks ago with some of the pipes we pulled out. So, understand your patience. We had a couple of different water main breaks this week, but the very first social media reaction is, here we go with boil water. Because your water main breaks has nothing to do with boil water. So please keep those two separate and understand. And Scott, I want to thank your staff, somewhat limited staff at times, on getting those done in a timely fashion and getting everybody back to where they need to be. With that, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, so we've been busy with some water mains. I think we've had We had 3 in the last week. One on Central Avenue was pretty bad last week. We had to chase it, cut out some pipe. The other 2 were, I don't want to say routine, but they were fairly routine. We just, hot days, so I could give the guys credit, staying after hours to get fixed. Yes, if there is a boil water, we will go door to door and let you know that there's a boil water. Just because there's a break doesn't mean there's boil water. We have guidelines that we follow, when we have to put a boil water over it out, so.
Okay. Anything else to report?
Yeah, we're gonna be doing some oil snowing starting tomorrow. They'll probably get into next week. I gave everybody the list of streets we're gonna do. So it shouldn't be too inconvenient, and we have to shut the road down for maybe 20 minutes to get it done. So it's not something like paving where you gotta wait hours.
Any update on, let's see, the state is here, the state is
They're
gone?
working, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a big project. I imagine they'll be here till fall.
Okay. And I want to thank all the trustees who worked on and yourself, who worked on that plan with the state to put that together. So thank you.
Yeah.
I did want to question about Leverett Street. We had a resident send us a video, and it's pretty bad when it rains really hard.
I saw that.
I mean,
it's a low-lying area. It drains out,
It goes into their
basements.
basements.
It's gonna put a 1/4 inch of, what's that?
it goes into their basements, the water. Did you see the video?
I did. I didn't see anything where it was going in the basement. I saw that there was, 4 inches of water on the road.
I think the point being that we don't need to redo that road again, because it's just crowning of the road. It's causing more issues for those residents with the water.
I guess if you
I'd
wanna make
like
that
for you
decision,
not to
you
do
can
that.
scratch it, but it's gonna
Right.
protect the road. Chip sealing is like sealing your driveway. We're not adding much material to it. We put stone on there to
It's-
keep the driveway on
It's a problem.
it.
It's a problem.
But
I mean, I don't think we should be telling Scott what roads to maintain.
When
I
there's a
mean, when they're-
problem,
but
I'd
when
like
they're-
to address it.
I understand that, and I think it's very unfortunate, but I don't think that adding a very thin layer of oil and then a little thin layer of stone is going to change any amount of flooding that's happening on that street.
don't
Especially
agree.
when a lot of the flooding is actually on the street itself.
On one
We have
side
to
of,
still maintain our infrastructure.
on one side of the street, there's no curb at all. On the other side of the street, there still is a little bit of a curb. So
There's no-
that's why those people aren't receiving the water like the people that have no curb any longer.
There's no
And
curb on
I'd
my
like to
street.
address that. I mean, that's what I'm here for my constituents' needs. And people along that street have reached out to me to speak about it, and that's what I'm doing now.
I mean, I don't know that a curb is necessarily gonna prevent any flooding. I mean, there's no and has never been a curb on my entire street, and
There
There's water
used to
that
be
comes in.
a brick road on that street, and there was a curb. I do remember that. I was living around the corner.
okay.
At no point in that video did I see where water was exiting the road and going into the resident's basement. That was not, the video I saw was about 30 seconds long. I saw some pooling in the road when we had, I'm guessing it was the day we had 2 inches
If you
of rain.
want me to have that person contact you, I can do that.
I mean, I got the video. I mean, I looked into it. I see where the problem is. We have problems all over the village.
Well, they're requesting that we hold off on that street.
So we're gonna let our infrastructure not be
It's-
maintained?
Have you been down the street, trustee Syracuse?
Yeah,
It's not in bad condition at all.
because it's adequately maintained.
We had a water break down there. There's a few road cuts, and what I like to do is, after, a road that has a bunch of patches, seal up so they don't get worse. But if in your expertise opinion, you think they don't need a chip seal, then we.
I'm representing the people that live on Leverett Street and the ones that are having this issue. That's what I'm
And
addressing.
what I'm saying is it's not gonna change anything. I mean, a 1/4 inch of stone is not gonna,
It's crowning the road even more. in the center, the road crowns.
It wouldn't crown the
It's
road
not-
anymore
not-
because the whole street would be paved. The crowning.
Well, if you're adding to it, it adds to it.
It wouldn't crown it more, it would raise it a quarter of an inch, but it wouldn't crown it more.
Seal it up.
I'm here to represent my
I
constituents, so
understand that, and
I'm addressing it.
Okay.
And if no one else wants to address it,
I think, Scott, proceed as your schedule.
It's really
And if-
not gonna make any difference.
Yeah.
My chips in that.
Unless
so
anybody
really
else
what you're asking
disagrees.
Scott to do is have that road ripped up and start over and make it lower.
well, eventually, I think you're going to have to because this is a problem. It looks like a river running down the street. Did you see the video,
It,
Trustee Esperson?
yeah, there's a river running down my street every time it rains hard too.
Does it run into your yard? and
Yes.
Over your sidewalk?
It actually does, when it rains
Does
hard
it
enough.
run into your basement?
Nope, because we have a
Okay.
sub pump that takes care of
Yeah,
it.
I mean, like I said, I didn't see the video where it was going into her house. I saw that there's some pooling on the street. It's a low spot. It was
Well,
some
she
good-
should have videotaped that, I guess.
Yeah, maybe I
Yeah.
could give her some recommendations. Well, I'll do that,
Okay, Recreation Department, good end of the season party yesterday. Michelle, do you have anything to add to it? I guess they're gonna extend.
They will extend recreation for the rest of the week because of all the hot days they've experienced. So the children can attend the playgrounds up until August 1st.
How's that done
this
already?
Friday.
Holy cow, that was a quick season.
Right.
Yowzer.
That's a quick season, because it was fast. We also, once again, want to thank John Gullo for his help this year with regards to securing funds so that families didn't have to pay this year. Police Department.
I really don't have much, it's just been a heavy vacation season. I have a member who's been out on an extended illness. I have another who is now expecting a child, and, we're just having a lot of overtime lately. Hopefully it'll ease up. Officer Lawson just started phase 2 of the academy in Alfred. I should have him by mid-September, and hopefully we can get him on the road before I lose someone else. That's all I have.
Thank you. Fire Department.
Going back to that resolution for Levi, it says effective immediately. I'd like that to say effective August 10th, because this current pay period schedule is already out. So really we'd be paying him more when he's not in that role yet. So it should say August 10th, if that's okay. Summer rec program has been cycling through for firehouse tours and fire prevention stuff. That's been really, really fun. Nice to have them there. We helped them out with a field day yesterday, kind of spread the kids with some water. They really enjoyed that.
No foam, right?
No PFAS, no. I got two other topics I'll go with. A couple months ago, I brought up selling engine 12. Posted on the internet, shared it with everyone for $12,500. I just kind of pulled that number out because there's really no use for it as a fire truck, right? I was hoping to capture a contractor or someone who just maybe collected it. I only have one hit, it's like someone local, and they're offering $5,000 for it. I don't really know what to do. I talked to a couple guys in construction thinking that they might have a use for the engine and transmission, but they don't. I guess they're tightening up the ropes with emissions and stuff. It's no longer like they can take an engine that's pre-emissions and use it these days, so I don't know what the board wants to do. I kind of need to make room for delivery of the new one in September, end of August, so I'm okay with it going for that price, but that's not my decision.
We go through the rest of August and see if somebody comes up, or at least the third week of August, to see if somebody comes up with something more. I agree with Chief. It's, you don't have a lot of people buying, but you might have somebody more than $5,000. I would think the vehicle
Would we,
Can we
worth
just
more
put
than
that on the auction site?
I was gonna say, would we do better maybe auctioning it off? I see a lot
I
of
don't
that.
know, we got a
going
bunch of stuff up there now that few people have right? An
I mean,
auction,
it's hit and miss, it's an auction, you know what I mean, sometimes.
yeah. I just wanna help them, try to get as the
Yeah.
maximum you can, but not keep it there when you need to open up the storage.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, my only other thing would be that this individual's interested now, right? There's nothing saying if I go
That's up
back
to the
and
board,
say, I'll
then.
sell it in 3 weeks, he
Yeah.
could tell me, never mind, right? I just, because if we don't sell it, I'm just gonna have to park it outside or work with Scott, and park it over DPW, and I'm gonna run out of room if we don't sell it before arrival of the new one.
5 years ago, they had 2 fire trucks, the same thing, they couldn't sell, they sat in my shop. We put them on the auction site, and a company from Poughkeepsie, they like redo fire equipment, they bought both. Yeah, they came down, so I don't know, probably look up there.
Would you be able to move it to DPW for storage and keep it on the auction?
Yeah, well, that's an option. That's why I brought it to the board a couple months ago. I didn't know if you wanted it on the auction site, if you wanted me to list it, I'm okay. The pump is shot at the fire pump, so I don't have to worry about keeping it indoors because of water. I mean, it's a diesel engine, right, so it probably shouldn't sit outside in the winter, but I don't.
Let's put it on the auction site.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens.
And then nothing comes up? I mean, again, you don't wanna lose the sure thing, but you also wanna try to get the maximum amount
Yeah.
of the fire truck. So. All right, chief, anything else?
Yeah, one more thing. I want to bring this up 5 months early, because I know there's a lot of controversy last time, but it's still my intent to send Bryce Fisher to paramedic school. That starts in January. The good thing is that Erie County EMS is a relatively new thing. They started their own paramedic program, which is considerably less, so it's $5,000 to send. That's where I want to send him, is their academy. Kind of stinks as an Amherst, so he'd be driving up there for the 2 or 3 days of class, but I know Trustee Esperson's big thing is the contract could change, and it could, but if it doesn't change, I need to go off of what it currently is, and that's 2 paramedics on shift at all times, so that means we have to send Bryce to medic school. So the EMS training budget for this year is $6,000, so, we do have the money to pay for it, it's budgeted, but I'd like to continue leaning forward with that, and wanted to bring it up with plenty of time so we could discuss it and we weren't rushing.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Code enforcement.
Budgeted.
The planning board met the deadlines for the hospital. They've approved the secret process and issued a negative declaration for the project to move forward. It's what the state wanted by Monday, and we met that deadline. Monday, we sent the final paperwork to the attorneys so they can file it with the state and get their money. Site plan's been approved. They should start site work, just site work this year, depending on the weather. There's a lot of site work that has to be done. And they'll probably start that this fall, is what they're telling me. Sonic is gonna break ground probably next week. We start their project. I'm still working through the battery storage one on, at the apartments on Central Avenue. They wanna do a battery storage facility plus renovate over $1 million project, renovating those apartments and stuff for more higher end apartments. We're getting away from the college rentals and stuff like that. I have an issue with the project that the village is doing with the fire hall and over at Water Street. That, if you remember, several times we've talked about the project. I kept saying, I have to do a building permit for FEMA, and nobody ever contacted me to get permits, floodplain permits. And now that project's, I don't know how far that project is done, but I drove by there and saw the riprap there, and I called Scott and said, hey, we got a problem. They need to come to me for a floodplain permit, and they're throwing it back on the village, that it's not their responsibility. And I would ask that we stop work on everything until I get the proper permits issued to them, especially by the fire hall. There's engineering that has to be done, and the only thing they gave me was cartoons, and I can't work off the cartoon. I need engineering because you're changing the things, and at least I think, I mean, I hate working after the fact,
Right.
And here I'm looking after the fact, I don't know what was done before. What I see is it looked like you may have changed the banks, which means that you need to do hydraulic studies to show that water isn't going on the other side of the creek. So I would ask that we stop that project until I can get, my head wrapped around that. And they may need a variance from our zoning board to move forward because they're in the floodway. And typically floodways, you don't touch those. And I don't know, the organization that we're working with,
County Soil and Water.
they should have known all that. They work with FEMA regs all the time, and they sent out, and the DEC sent a letter saying, check with your local municipality because they're the floodplain administrator.
Right.
And they totally ignored that. And they're throwing it back at us, saying, well, it's your problem. And that kind of aggravates me a little bit.
I got a couple phone calls I can make today. I got the people's names that you asked me to call. So.
I don't know what your budget is, but you need engineering.
Yeah.
I don't know what their budget's like, or how much money they want to spend on those projects. But I would ask, please don't go forward with, I know there's something by the fire hall that you want to do.
Right.
Right.
I would ask that you hold off on that until you can get that approved.
Yeah, we were issued about $250,000 on that.
I did contact Soil and Water with the county, and they were the ones that informed you that you didn't need to do that. I mean, it was kind of crazy, I thought, too.
Yeah, the person that you reached out to emailed me and sent me all the documentation from the DEC. And I showed the mayor this morning that on the bottom of that letter from the DEC, from their approval, it said, check with other agencies and check with your local government, because we do not do FEMA regulations. The local administrator does, which is me. And they never even bothered to check with us or anything, so. Here's the other problem, is if we don't, we were audited years ago under Mayor Essick, and I got a good report from them. It's sitting in my office. And she comes out every couple of years and audits all our floodplain projects. If she comes out and sees that, we can potentially lose all floodplain, all residents have to pay flood insurance. They can pull that, FEMA can pull the flood, funding, and they'll lose all their funding, their FEMA insurance. So it's kind of a serious thing that we make sure we keep on that and make sure I do the right thing and get the permits and follow through with that. If let's go for variances, so, whatever.
I'll call the two people as soon as the meeting's over, see if we can get them on the phone.
I
We
appreciate
trust
it.
that.
I hate working after the fact and,
Right.
Yep.
I don't believe it's any of our fault because I don't believe that Scott would even know enough to contact me on stuff like that. He wouldn't know the state regulations, the federal regulations. So it's kind of offensive that they're putting it back on us that, well, the mayor signed the contract and the mayor did this and,
The mayor signed the contract for the reception of money in the project. There's nothing about, I'm not a
and
FEMA
I'm
guy.
sure you never even saw the permits. The reason we saw them is because
Right.
Michelle reached out to them and they
Sure.
copied me on them. And that's
Sure.
when I saw them was yesterday when they sent me an email.
All right.
I've worked on these projects with them in the past, we've done 5 or 6 of these, so I don't know why, did they get permits before?
I never
Liberty
issued-
Street, we did University, Porter.
I think it was before my time, I think, but I never issued a permit. And I think, I talked to my predecessor, John Monaco, last night about this, which really kind of bothered me a little bit, because this could be expensive to the village. And he didn't know that we even did floodplain stuff. He thought that Jack did it all. But when I read the law, started reading the law last night, it says the zoning official has to enforce the floodplain regs. Because he thought maybe the law was changed after he left. But he said he never even did really a lot of floodplain stuff. It was always on the previous DPW supervisor, Jack. So,
Zoning wasn't even, I'm sure they're aware because it's been in the paper, but zoning, I don't think had any part in that whatsoever. And I don't think they've had in the previous ones either.
yeah, I know that we never did. But with including these things, that's unfortunately, it's my responsibility.
Right.
with
Oh, I understand.
The regs.
Yeah.
I think we should address this, definitely.
All right. Anything else, Chuck, under that?
No, just we're busy, but.
You've had a good month? You want to tell the board about that?
Pardon me?
You said you've had a good month? You want to tell the board?
Yeah,
about that?
this is the first time probably in several years that we cleared over 10,000 in fees just for this month. And I think we'll probably do another 10,000 or more next month, because I got a couple more big projects that haven't paid yet and come in yet. So we are busy. That's kind of speaks to how busy we are. Usually this time of year we're usually averaging 5,000 than 6,000. So to come up with $10,000 in revenue, it's nice.
That's great.
Well,
Good job.
just when you hear nothing's happening, or this isn't happening, or nothing's going on, Chuck's been pretty busy for the entire year, so lots going on. All right, that's the end of the department reports.
Lewis hasn't.
Lewis, I'm sorry, you were behind.
Yeah.
You're behind Josh back there.
He's over there in the corner.
I want to offer condolences to the Lascola family. We lost an employee over last week. He was with the village 20+ years, so it's definitely a loss. And I spoke to the divers yesterday. They're going to try to be here tomorrow or Friday to do the inspection of the intake grip in the reservoir.
No disruption of anything, correct? Okay. We will do a moment of silence for Monday. I'll talk to you about that. Okay.
Larry, I just wanted to add to that too, like, Jeff Lascola was a dedicated employee at the water plant. We worked hand in hand with him a lot. Through a flushing over the years, he was always there, he was out, we could depend on him. It's a huge loss to the village. So I'd like to give my condolences to the Lascola family as well.
I'll call you after the meeting, because I want to get some information on family and everything. Okay?
How are you doing on staffing then? Is that impacting?
It's been tough.
Yeah.
We reached out to a couple people for interviews. They just haven't scheduled time and dates yet.
Yeah.
Currently, right now, you're down 2 people, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So, all right. Anything else, Lewis?
That is all.
Didn't mean to forget you there, my friend. Sorry. But speaking of Lewis and generator, any update on that generator situation?
I don't have a real good update at this point. The most recent thing that I've done is inquired about the heat tracing that's going to be required for the new chlorinator. That adds additional loading on the system. And Oliver Sugarman from Labella is supposed to get back to me this week to give me that detail.
Okay.
Once I identify that, then we can proceed.
All right, thank you. We have a number of things under new business. One of them is the Fredonia Farm Festival letter. I don't know if you want that read now or whether you want it read Monday.
No, that'll be read Monday.
Okay. Same with Red, White, and Blues.
Same.
And thanks to Trustee Esperson and Chuck. And we have our battery storage contract sitting here.
So you have the update for review, correct?
Yeah, the attorney sent it back to us. I haven't had a chance to look at it this morning. But the planning board meets again Wednesday to hopefully finalize the cannabis law. And we'll go through the changes that the attorney made,
Yeah.
which I think are minor.
Looks like mostly grammatical changes or.
Yeah, so Amy's fixing that now, and the planning board will meet on that Wednesday. I'm sure they'll be fine with everything, so after that, if the board wants to set a public, we'll send a letter to the board authorizing that we've approved it, and then set a public hearing.
Okay.
I know there's a couple, there's a big project that's knocking on our door, come in, a couple different spots. So,
Can you email me that? Or can you email me that? What, the boundary?
Where was that? Now, I know you said there was a project, someone looking at Central Avenue, I think.
One's on the end of Clinton Street, there's 4 acres there, and it's right across from where they want to put the other facility, the other
Solar.
project.
Mhm.
But I think there might be some wetlands they're DEC changed the regulations on wetlands, and it's screwing up a lot of, projects. And I think this would be one of them that they're trying to mitigate with the DEC to get the project in there. The other one, I understand, is they contacted the homeowner on Madison, and they want to put a battery storage facility there too. But I don't know, they're just in the talking stages right now.
Okay. Any solar project update or no? Sorry.
Their work, they say they want to still do it, they're working through the DEC right now to try to work through the wetlands that are there. The maps changed, and there's more wetlands there than what used to be.
Okay.
So when they started the project, they were fine, and now they're just trying to delineate some of the wetlands that are there.
Okay, super. Thank you, Chuck. Did you want to talk about this today?
Yeah, I passed out today when we got here this claim form. Well, there's two. So if you guys want to take a look at that, if you have any questions, I did make sure that Scott had seen it.
Are we just submitting it to insurance?
It's not worth it for us to do that, but I
Okay,
think
so
that
then we should probably talk about it in executive session.
We have to go into executive session. So, anything else under new business?
Got a couple things. Monday, there'll be a walk-on resolution naming the village as a lead agency. Seeker Mark's working on that now. So that'll come before us on Monday. And I spoke with Melanie. CSEA is anxious to start contract negotiations. So she wants us to approve going forward with starting that. That's on top of the impasse hearing with the firefighters union will begin next Friday here.
Do we have a time on that yet, John?
No. I think she was waiting to hear from their rep, what time it's gonna start, but.
We have PPD contract under old business.
Yeah, that was passed out to everybody. We sent that to Melanie for review. So I hope if anybody's had a chance to read it, if you have any comments, let me know and we can forward those to Melanie.
You know, the cost for me
Yep,
would be the number one issue.
yep.
Okay. If there's nothing else before the board.
I've got some old business here.
Oh, we do?
Yep.
Go ahead.
So we had the representative from Honk here on Monday giving his presentation, and we all had a chance to ask questions. It's probably time for us to make a decision whether we want to move forward with that or not. So we can talk about that now, or we can bring a resolution forward and talk about that at that point.
So what are we thinking of charging people to park in the village? If we put a base of $1 down, that works out to $1.79 with Honk's fees.
An hour?
Whatever time period we assigned it
Yeah.
to, I guess, would that be an hour? Would that be 2 hours?
Well, I think what we need to do first is decide if we're gonna use them, and then we can decide what the fees
We
would
look
be.
at similar sized communities. I mean, and again, you're not talking about anywhere that doesn't already have that type of situation right now. I mean, on the streets. We're not taking away the free parking in the parking lots, with the exception of some, we still have to discuss probably quickly what we're gonna do with regards to college people leaving their cars in the parking lot. And obviously, we want to talk about it with the board, but John and I had identified 8 spots in each parking lot. Somewhat fairly easy, almost like a sticker like the Fredonia State kids have already. They pay for it once during the course of the school year and get to park there. because a lot of the apartments don't have enough room for their cars. We need sources of revenue. It's not being cheap, it's not being petty. It's doing what other communities have done for a long period of time that we're a little bit behind on.
And you know, and it's not just that, it's the fact that while the college kids park there, those are spots that the community can't use.
Right.
Because the college kids park there all the time. So they're using it as, you know, the landlords of those houses are using it as their, you know,
Overflow
parking for the
parking.
students.
Mhm.
So it's taking away spots from the community, so if they're gonna use those spots on a consistent basis, the community can't, then they should be charged something.
And also, the renters continue to increase their revenue, you know, so it's just things we have to look at. So I've got a couple of phone calls, I had a couple of emails. There's still plenty of free side street parking, there's plenty of free parking in the free areas. This is just replacing pretty much what was already metered, and not having batteries freeze in the afternoon. And as Chief is saying, he's, you know, his guy's got enough to do at this point. But another form of bringing us up to date with revenues that other communities are getting.
So how does that work? Would the police chief have to have a screen to notify him? When chief,
They made the
I'm sorry.
presentation.
Yeah.
yeah,
For the presentation, they said that every officer would have one,
every officer
yeah, either on their phones.
on
or
their
in car.
computers,
Yeah.
right,
If it looks like red, you give them a ticket. If
Yeah.
nothing's wrong,
okay.
move along, you know, so.
Mhm.
But also prevent them from having to carry around a pickle bucket in the middle of winter trying to collect quarters, and they got other more important things to do.
So for people to use honk, they would have to have a cell phone, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't need to download the app, cell phone, every cell phone's got a camera on it. That's all you're doing.
I would still recommend, you know, my recommendation would be that if we go to the honk system, we still, every, I don't know, certain number of yards, we leave a metered spot for people that don't have phones, and then eventually we can.
Oh, I see. To sort of transition.
Yeah,
Okay.
So would the parking costs be equal?
we can make it equal, we can charge whatever we want to charge.
I'm just wondering how many quarters.
Yeah. Well, what's it now, 25 or 25 cents for?
For a half hour?
For a half hour?
Yeah.
Right.
Can we change those meters? No? That's what they're gonna charge, okay.
I think in this day and age, considering people will go to Buffalo and pay $5 for an hour, not saying we have to go that crazy, but I think we're past the 25-cent tire horse to the post situation.
So we would have to get new meters in order to change that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll see how many new meters or how many meters, if we're gonna make the change, we plan on keeping,
Yeah.
and then see what the cost would be to replace those.
It seems silly to go to honk and like still then buy new meters for what, a year for an interim or two?
Yeah.
I think it's an all or none thing.
Yeah,
If we
agree
can't
with
change
that.
our current meters,
Or just
I don't wanna spend the money to buy new meters.
Right.
people who are lucky enough to get the metered spot, get a discount on parking.
Well, the other thing
Or
is,
just go
folks,
around the back to the free parking.
there's free parking right across the street. You know, I love
think for
watching,
some people-
the people that go to the gym and wait for the parking spot in front of the door and then go in and run 5 miles out.
But I
of
think
it.
for some people, like the chiropractor's office, a lot of those people are, you know, going for medical needs and they can't walk that
We're
far.
not putting them in medical
Well,
spots.
they can't walk this.
Where the
this
meters
far.
are right now is exactly where honk would be. Exactly.
Oh, I
So
hope they have cell phones.
I get to the doctor's office just fine.
Anything else for old business?
I got nothing.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session
Do we have a
for
second?
personnel for the building and zoning inspector's office.
Also
May I have
for,
5 minutes in executive session for litigation?
Certainly.
And
and
For
for,
litigation.
I don't know, what is that?
We've got a second one, too.
Notice of
The,
claim.
the
No,
claim
for
litigation.
discussion
Uh,
of litigation, there we go, that was the.
Can I ask for a 2-minute break?
Sure.
Sure.
Thanks.
All right, so I second the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, aye. Thanks.
Way to take charge.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's so hard.